You are listening to Leading the Factory Forward with your host, Lynn Freest. We share interviews with manufacturing experts and strategies for embracing the digital future, recruiting a new workforce, finding new business. Lynn is an advanced manufacturing strategist and leadership consultant who is on a mission to show manufacturing leaders how to improve their current operations while preparing for a digital future. And here's your host, Lynn Freest.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Leading the Factory Forward. This is episode 97, and it's benefits of using a co-working space. My goal in this podcast is to help you create a compelling future for yourself, your teams, and your organizations. I encourage you to visit my website and download the summary at the bottom of the podcast episode, and you can use that as a tool to capture notes as you explore the concepts in this episode. Or to help you get started on your journey and to stay up to date on new episodes, please download the free worksheet, 3 Steps You Need for a More Productive Workday. Well, this episode is about the benefits of using a co-working space, and it's an interview with Amy Sivertsen. Amy is the co-owner of CoWorkQC. CoWorkQC is a shared workspace and a thriving co-working community in downtown Davenport, Iowa. They exist to encourage productivity in work and life for small business owners, nonprofits, remote workers, and freelance creatives. They provide collaborative workspaces to the entrepreneur, the creatives, the solopreneurs, remote employees, and small teams who are tired of working out of their homes and would like something more professional than a coffee shop. The members here work on their own and yet together in an open space ready for productivity, conversation, and collaboration. So in our conversation today with Amy, some of the questions we'll discuss include: what was her journey in starting CoWorkQC? What are the benefits that you see in co-working? What are the variety of ways that a co-working space can be used? What are some of the experiences of your clients? And what do you see the future looking like? With that, here's Amy. Welcome, Amy. And for the audience, I'd like to have you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you've been up to.
My name is Amy Sivertsen, and I am one of the business owners of CoWorkQC, which is a co-working space in the Quad Cities.
What were some of the ideas that caused you to join in and develop a co-working space?
Originally, I worked in the family business. I sold tax preparation software, and I worked from home while doing that. When that contract ended, I was looking for the next thing to do and was introduced to my current business partner, Leslie Klitsch, and she also works from home. She was a writer, and she had told me about this thing that she had heard of called co-working. And at the time, co-working had been around for about 10 years in major cities, but hadn't really caught on in other parts in smaller communities yet. It was just starting to. And so I researched, I looked, and I saw these incredible spaces where people from all different professional backgrounds came together and worked in a same space. And so we jumped on that idea and we started looking around and talking to people and found out that there is a pretty large network here in the Quad Cities of people who work from home and were getting tired of being by themselves all day and getting distracted by home projects and chores or pets, and also didn't really want to be in such a public place like a coffee shop. And so we gathered some of those people together and we started working in a space to see if it was something that was going to work for everyone, and it did. And so then from there, we just continued to advertise and reach out more through word of mouth and grassroots than anything, and have developed a space from there.
Could you share a little bit about what the space is and how it's constructed and the different aspects of it?
Sure. We wanted to provide services to a variety of people and their needs. Obviously, we can't fill every single person's needs, and there are going to be people who aren't a fit. But what we wanted was to provide those needs. So we had what's called a floating desk, which is people come in with their own equipment, their laptop, and whatever else they need. They sit down at a desk for the day, and then they pack up their stuff and take it with them. We also had, when we originally started, a dedicated desk as well, which people could put, if they needed dual screens, they could put monitors, they could have filing cabinets to leave stuff if it was going to be more of a primary working space, or they didn't want to have to cart that stuff back and forth each time. And so we started with those 2 memberships. And then we had, at the time, it was 900 square feet. So there wasn't a whole lot of room for anything else. We had a shelf for snacks and a pot of coffee, and people came and worked. And then we grew. We found out that there was a lot of requests for private offices. And so we looked for a new space, and we set up a few private offices for people and companies who needed the 4 walls and needed more of that privacy, but still wanted to work within a community. And so now we have private offices, the dedicated desk, and the floating desk options. And then we threw in a couple part-time memberships as well for people who may not want to work there full-time, don't need 24/7 access, but wanted to come in a couple times a month, once a month, a couple times a week, just to be around other people, rub ideas off of. And so the biggest thing that we wanted to do was create a sense of community. And so people come to work because of the community, not so much because of the space. And so that's why we tried to hit all the options and different price points, so people felt like they could be part of the community in some capacity.
Had some experience over there. You do have an amazing community of people, and I always appreciated being there. And then, of course, I worked with a group that, in addition, used your space twice a month, I believe, for an entrepreneurial community. And again, I think that it was a great opportunity for us to use your space because it was just a warm, welcoming space that people could get together in.
That's great. Yeah, we want to be a place where people come and bounce ideas off of, and to provide some of those resources to the community, even if people weren't members, that they could see that there was a community of entrepreneurs and other professionals that they could talk to. Now, a lot of our members are not entrepreneurs. We kind of have a hybrid. We have business owners and we have remote employees at this point, which makes for great collaboration, because even if someone is a remote employee, they have a skill set, professional skill set, whether they're working for a marketing firm or even an environmental engineering firm, they have experiences that definitely can be brought to the table to speak with an entrepreneur or somebody looking to start out, or just curious and looking for ideas and hearing other people's experiences in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I recall that I think some of your people did work for each other after a while, because if they needed website design or they needed something, it had just appeared there was a lot of interesting cross-pollination, even with the people that were there in different arenas.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So one example of that, a really early example, is that one of our members was a web content developer, and he was an independent contractor, freelancer, working for himself. And another member was a remote employee working for a company, and they were looking to do educational videos, and they needed to find an individual or a company to help them create these videos. And just because the two desks were next to each other, and they started talking, and the content creator said, "Oh yeah, this is what I do for my work." And then the remote employee says, "Hey, my company is actually looking for someone like you to do that work." And they went through this contract process and ended up creating really successful videos and content for this company. So much so that when this remote employee ended up leaving her company, she started her own, and the content creator now works for her full time, and they've got this company off on the ground. And it has grown so much that the founder of this organization ended up having to move. She had grown so much, she needed to be in a major city close to a major international airport. It's an incredible story that we like to talk about when people ask, how do people collaborate and what grows out of that?
Some of my audience is what I call the encore careers or the silver entrepreneur. So some of them may be wondering, okay, if I'm going to start this encore career, I could be working for another company, I could be working for myself. what are some of the things that people have come to you? What are the reasons they've chosen to come to CoWorkQC to do their work?
I think the biggest driver of people becoming members is the community and being able to work alongside people with different experiences. And I think that people starting out or looking for the next thing to hear about other people's backgrounds and what they do either professionally or how they do various aspects of their job or what their companies do is really helpful in someone starting out to paint that picture of what they want their work or their company or their services to look like. And then they can run ideas, whether it's, here's a logo I'm thinking of, here are 3 different options. Which do you like the best? Or I'm writing a mission statement. Can you take a look at this and tell me if this is good or how I can fix it? Or does this portray what my business or my services are really going to be about? And so there's a lot of collaboration in that way. And people really like to be a part of each other's growth and advancement in their businesses or their careers.
Yeah. And again, I'm thinking about my audience with the Encore careers and stuff, and even the people that go on to just work for companies. We're probably what I'll call digital immigrants. So a lot of us have a lot of things to learn in the technology space. And again, my experience of being over in your community is there are a lot of people there that can help us understand that or help us do things, as well as if I'm out starting my company of one, I need to learn things about marketing that I didn't have to know in my corporate career, or I need to learn things about copywriting. When I've been over there, there are people around or people who know people, and that could be a great plus for somebody that's just getting started.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know you've had all these different people I've either seen or have come in and been a part of it. So again, if we're starting out on something, I think a place like CoWorkQC would be a great place to get connected with that group of people who has a wide range of those possible skills that we might need.
Yeah, we definitely have writers and we have web people, whether that is an independent person who has a web development company, as well as we've had remote employees working in web content and analytics. That collaboration is definitely there. There is going to be somebody, whether or not they're an entrepreneur, who's going to know a certain aspect of what software platforms is a company using for communication with people. How do I do social media and what are ways to do that? These are people who are going to be able to definitely help with that.
I believe at one time, I think one of your people might have been involved in insurance. So if I had to have a question around insurance, they would know somebody I should maybe talk to simply because of their general background in that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Again, in this last year, obviously, many people got the experience of remote work and saw the upsides and downsides of working from their kitchen table or whatever. As you think back on it, what were some of the real upsides of working in the co-working space versus working in your home, as it were?
I think a lot of it depends on a person's home life and their lifestyle. We have quite a few people who have kids. And so being able to get out of the house, to be able to have designated time to focus on work is really important. But working from home has serious advantages. There's the comfort of your own home and no commute time, amongst other things. But there are some downsides. You can get lonely very quickly. And if you have an animal, your cat might walk on your computer or sit on the stuff you're trying to do at that time, or the laundry piles up, or the dishes need to be done, or if you're sitting in front of a window and you look out and you see all the weeds that need to be pulled, or there's a lot of opportunity for different types of distractions at home. And so that flexibility to be at a co-working space or working from home, I think, is really important. None of the people really that have been members of CoWorkQC have ever really stopped working from home. They've just added another place to work that was helpful professionally.
Yeah, and I think of the times I was over there that even though I just worked in the open space, it was certainly easier to concentrate, I'll say. Even though there are other people working around me, we're all busy working, but you don't have like you say, those distractions of if I'm at home, I can see 4 things I need to be doing other than what I'm trying to focus on. Again, you have a warm, welcoming, there's a lot of light in the space. To me, it was a very comfortable place to work too.
Yeah, we worked hard at making it aesthetically appealing and to inspire that productivity. And definitely when you're there and there's other people working, it makes you want to work as well. And then even when you do talk to people and have conversations, they're generally helpful for your work. And so it may not be time that you're doing task-oriented stuff, but you're still at least expanding your development professionally.
And I know also you had some conference rooms. And so I know people like to have meetings with people and stuff like that, and they like to have it in a professional setting. That, I think, is another opportunity that you guys offer with the co-working space. You can have that professional meeting space, so you're not meeting people in your living room or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. Or the coffee shop when there's a bunch of other strangers around listening to your sales pitch or your consultation.
I think that, again, it provides that professional setting for people when they want to meet with people in that kind of arena. Think other things about the community, just in general. I know you've had some community events. You've sponsored things for the public. What are some of the other things you've done to try to build your own sense of community, either with your members or with the surrounding area?
Yeah. So when we moved into our current space about 4 years ago, we had done some lunch and learns. If there are members who wanted to do that, share something that other members might want to learn. But the thing that I think is the most successful is that once a month, we would just get together and have lunch. And so we would bring lunch in for all the members from a local restaurant, mainly a downtown restaurant, but we've branched out. And then we sit around and just catch up. And we've done happy hours. We also tried to do quarterly art gallery openings with artwork from a local artist. And then we've also hosted several different organization events. The chamber had done an entrepreneurial gathering in the mornings twice a week. I know SCORE was just starting off doing some other similar type events that they were going to have at CoWorkQC. And so it's really interesting talking about what we've done in the past, because this past year has been so different. We've had to really alter what we have done, but we're still open for members and there's still a community going. It's still alive and well, even if we're not currently doing some of those other offerings, which we hope to resume very soon.
Sure. And finish before I mention your other things that's always struck me is your 2 big blackboards. Maybe you could talk a little bit about those.
Yes, we have 2 chalk walls that we originally just put up some interesting designs or inspirational quotes, but have recently hired chalk artists to come in and create those designs. It's a way to have that aesthetics and showcase some artwork, but have it rotate in a different way.
Yeah, I was always impressed, like I said, when you mentioned you have artwork and showcased also that, again, it just makes that workspace so much more interesting because you come in if you haven't been there for a while and there's maybe something new in the chalk wall or there's some new artwork on the walls or something like that. So that's always, again, I thought it made for a very inviting and inspiring or creative workspace. So
yeah, that's great to hear. That is definitely the goal, to have a light and beautiful space that makes you feel energized and ready to work and productive. Even if you're only there for an hour and a half, that you can knock off all the tasks that you wanted to have done, as well as have some time for a cup of coffee and a quick chat.
Absolutely. I want to thank you again, Amy, for sharing this, because I think, again, my audience, people who want to start that encore career and want to be entrepreneurs or even just want to have remote workplaces, you guys have a great place to be. If you're in the Quad Cities, I'm sure there are other places if people are located somewhere else in the U.S. But again, thank you. And any final thoughts that you have about co-working and how it can help people?
Yeah, I think if anybody feels interested in checking out a co-working space, they definitely should do it. Each co-working space has its own unique community and offerings. And I highly recommend that for anyone who's looking to start something, wants to get some ideas, or just wants a place to work. Definitely go check one out or come check us out.
Yeah. And I think too, if people start traveling again, you're across from a hotel. So I don't know if anybody ever came across, but that was always a possibility that people who are traveling could find a spot in your co-working space.
Yes, absolutely. Co-working spaces are everywhere. And so if you're going through someplace, definitely see if there's a co-working space for you to stop and see if they do a daily membership or an hourly membership, and go in and meet some new people and get some work done. We definitely have had people just passing through come and use the space.
Again, thank you, Amy, very much. I appreciate it. And we will include your website and your contact information. And we'll also try to let the community know some more about CoWorkQC.
Oh, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Thanks again. Again, our thanks to Amy for sharing another great way for people having encore careers to get their work done in a really powerful way. Some of the steps we covered in this episode are her journey in starting CoWorkQC. What did she see as the benefits of co-working? What are the variety of ways that a co-working space can be used? What were the experiences of some of her clients? And what does she see moving forward? So please refer to the resources in the show notes. And as always, I encourage you to visit my website, download the summary at the bottom of the podcast episode as you start your exploration of this episode. And also look for the link to the replay of my recent webinar on 4 questions that will improve your encore career selection. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.